All right, we're going to start guide video number 14. And just as an update, our mechanic, we're at level 21. Here's our skill allotment so far. We had just, in the last video, got ourselves up to renovator so we can fix and repair body parts. In fact, we can repair all parts now that are potentially repairable. We got up to, level 5 of strong arms, and we're maxing out our mounting speed next, and then the rest of the skill points we'll put into identifying parts, and then we'll move our mechanic to run faster. As far as shop upgrades, we have all the tools. We have the test path, the car wash, paint shop at level 1, and we've got the garage expansion. So that's where we're at. We're level 21. We have about $30,000 worth of cash and 854 scrap we've accumulated so far. So we're doing, we're doing good. Doing good. So next story car. This will be, well, this is guide video 14. We did one guide video where we just did money and some tips on money. So this will be the 13th story car. I believe, if my memory serves, there's 30 story cars. So as far as guide videos, I'm going to do at least 31, so I get one guide video for each of these story cars. And then I'll probably do one or two more guide videos beyond that, and then I'll just move into my main save series, and that'll give you tips and tricks on restoring cars, upgrading them, that kind of stuff. Lucas, this is all for you, buddy. I'm hoping this is good stuff for you. So we got a 1983 Edmund Yeager. Hi, I just got back from a business trip, and you won't guess what was waiting for me. My beautiful car. I hopped in and set off for an evening ride. From the very start, something caught my attention. The car drove better somewhat. After this lengthy introduction, I'll explain. It turned out my son had a little adventure with my car. I'm impressed by his attitude because he took matters into his own hands. I must admit, the car never drove better than after your repairs. You're a wizard. Today, I've got my son's cars for you. I want to repay him for making my gem give me more pleasure from driving. The kid couldn't afford a renovation. Please make the engine reach perfection. Give it some spark. The bodywork also needs some love. Pimp this ride and add a bit more horsepower. Let the kid live a little. See you. So we have to repair or replace the body parts. We have to change the oil, drain it, and refill with new. Spray it the factory color, and there'll be some other tasks that we have to accomplish. All right. So let's take that order. She is a fancy level green 4-cylinder engine, probably. Let's take it to the car wash, just clean it up first, because it is, get a look at it, get a better idea of what we're dealing with here. Well, it's green and red, so I'm betting these are going to be the body panels that are bad, but let's inspect it. All right, so we'll go to the order list. So we have 3 pages of undiscovered parts. As far as body parts, the front right door, front right fender, and hood. So it was the parts that are discolored that we were going to have to deal with. So those we can remove. Change the oil, spray it the factory color, change brake fluid, change the power steering fluid, increase the tuning of the car by 10 to 15%, and perform a wheel alignment. All right. All right, so just eyeballing it. We've got a fuel filter here that looks crap, just by eyeball look. How's the exhaust manifold look? Not bad. My helpful tip here of the day, when you're looking for a quick job that says just increase performance by 10%, 12%, exhaust manifolds are an easy one. Those are 4% increased power at the tuning shop if you get an exhaust manifold. This steering setup looks bad. These rims do not look like they're the best shape. How's the rear look? I got a bad rim there. Not the best looking suspension, but not terrible. Okay, so we have an idea of what we're dealing with here. We have those body panels off. Let's go ahead and move the car over to our Heck, let's use our test pass. I do not believe we did this in our last video. So there's no engine oil. All right, so we can't run a test path again. Dang it. That's fine. Let's just take it to the lift 1. We'll pop her up in the air a little bit, and then we'll do some examining and diagnosis. But first, let's repair these body panels. We have the ability to do this now. And this minigame is easy. You click it to start and stop in the red, or in the green, excuse me. There we go. So we have repaired the body panels for this car. Now we just have to, paint them, but they're at least in good condition. And I don't believe we had to repair the window, so we can just put the old window back on. There we go. That looks sharp now. Repair or replace body panels. Done, done, and done. And in fact, we repaired the mirror, which we didn't have to, but we were being a nice mechanic for this guy, right? Nice mechanic. Good job. Change the oil, spray factory color, other tasks. All right, so let's do our diagnostics. Hood up. We'll pop in here and go to our additional tools. Onboard diagnostic scan. That's where we'll start. Spark plugs. They look poor. ECU, good. ABS modules, fine. Ignition coils, they look okay. All right, 4 spark plugs. That's where we're starting. Compression. We've got decent compression. It's up to 10, so it's in the green. That doesn't mean all the parts will be fine, but hey, in this case, all the parts are fine. So the pistons, rings are good. Good. Electronic multimeter. Now, I always like to watch this once after you get out of the one. 0.82, 0.81, 0.8, 0.78. Those are actually the percentage of the parts that this thing's actually testing. So sometimes you'll just, as you eyeball it, you'll see which parts are screwed up, or at least know that there'll be parts that are screwed up. Everything here is fine. Okay. The fuses were fine, all those things. Let's check the tread on the tires. 23%, 35, 24, 13. The tires are in poor shape. And I was pretty sure we're going to have to replace tires, yep. And those rims look terrible, so I'm pretty sure the rims are going to be bad. Additional tools, fuel. Not in the green on the meter. Doesn't mean it's bad, but okay, we got a bad fuel filter. Which we knew that, we just, from the eyeballs there, it was all rusty, so we're pretty sure that was screwed up. Alright, so we got some things figured out. Not everything, but we got some stuff figured out. What was the fluids we had to replace? Car status. Change brake fluid, change power steering fluid. So let's do that right now. So go to our tools, crane tool. You guys are getting old hat at this by now, right, Luke? Brake fluid drained and power steering fluid drained. Okay, and then we'll go to part unmount, unmount the cap, put in new power steering fluid. Okay. And we're going to put in new brake fluid. Okay. Then as far as the next step here, let's get it up in the air. No, I want to do the examining down here. Let's go ahead and examine the engine. Go to examine mode. And all we're doing here, you just click on the engine, hold down left click, and the mechanic will examine engine parts by just laying his eyes on them. If they're parts he can identify, we will get a color designation. and then a list, you know, of the percentage of the parts. Not every part, like the rubber bushing on the cross member, we can't look at. That's fine though. We still get a lot of parts and a lot of information on these parts by doing this. And sometimes you can identify then which parts on a car are broken and need repair, which parts don't. And it also kind of delineates which parts that you need to spend more time looking at if you can't somehow otherwise examine them. All right, so the front, I think we have examined everything in the front we can. Let's look at the exhaust. Exhaust, okay. Look at the rear cross member. Okay, right side suspension system here. Or driver's side, so that'd be the left side. And right side, or the drinker side. All right, so we have examined a lot of parts on this car. Let's look at our parts list. So we know we got an air filter issue, front drive, axles, drive shaft, fuel filter, serpentine belts, spark plugs, and the tires. All right, so let's pop her up in the air. We know we're going to have to replace the 4 tires. I'm pretty sure as we pull this, these rims are going to be bad too, just based on the amount of rust on these. But we'll see. Then as we pull it, then we can get a good look at the brakes. The front rotor looks fine, but I'm pretty sure this brake pad's going to be bad. So I'm just going to pull the brake pad. I'm going to pull the rotor because I'm a nice guy, and if I have a brake lathe in my shop that I can use for free, I lathe the customer's brakes for them. Just because I'm a nice guy. It's how I roll. And you know, I'm going to teach you to be the same way, Luke. All right, that brake pad on the front here is bad. You can just see it by the amount of rust on it. It's fine. Go ahead and pull the lathe, or the brake disc on the front. Take the rear wheels off. Actually, this brake, that pad looks fine. That caliper looks okay. I think we're going to be able to leave this alone. Yeah, I'm just going to leave that alone for now. And let's pull the rear tire and look at this brake pad. Same thing here. A little bit of rust, a little bit of rust. I think the rear brake systems look fine. Now let's look at the parts here. The brake pads were 36%. Let's see if they said, boy, we have to replace those. Yep, 2 brake pads right there. And look at that, 4 retro rims. I was pretty sure they were crap. So let's go ahead and separate out these parts. Now, if they're in above 10%, we can repair these. Tires can't be repaired, but the rims can be repaired. Let's just go look at that first rim we pulled and see if it's a repairable rim. It is 31%, so we can repair that. Separate these rims out at the tire machine. All right. Oops. Just wanted to check the car status. There's still a few, 1, 2, 3 parts that are not yet discovered. We have been hosed recently on rubber bushing, so I was just going to get an eye on these rubber bushings and the cross member, because those tend to be like things that kind of screw you up. That one looks okay-ish. How's the rubber bushing here? The bolt's rusty, because those are ones that you can't identify with your examine mode. So you either have to pull the bushing or just kind of look at it, see if it's all messed up. Doesn't look bad. All right. So we got the tires off. There's obviously other suspension parts here that we have to pull. So let's go ahead and pull the drive axles. The bearing's bad. That bearing looks fine, actually. This shock doesn't look bad. The top doesn't look bad. The spring looks okay. And I'm just eyeballing that based on the amount of rust that's on it. That doesn't necessarily mean I'm right. I could be wrong. That bearing looks okay. Shock looks okay-ish. Drive axle. Let's pull that. Got to drain the oil out. As we'll get that draining while we're working on other stuff. Get that draining. Then let's go to our bench and do some repairs. I'm gonna go over here. I'm gonna go ahead and lay the brakes for them. So we have, are all the rims repairable? All right, we have one rim we can't repair. The others are repairable. And again, it's a mini game. Stop it on the green. Brakes we don't have to repair. Rims we do. Front drive axle and drive shaft we can repair. And we're just lathing up the brakes for them. Because, again, we're just nice guys. That's how we do. That's how we do here at your garage, right? And you can, you know, it is a simulation game. You can simulate this the way you want to play it. If you want to be the nice mechanic who always washes the car for your customer, do it. Why not? You know, if you want to repair all the parts on a patient's or on a customer's car, do it. I mean, you don't have to. You won't get extra money for doing this, but it's fun. If that's what you want to do, do it. You can play these games the way you want to play. There's no right or wrong way to play them. We got to buy some brake pads. Go to the brake spot, 2 pads. Almost forgot that. Caliper. There we go. Then we can put on our axle. Nice 100%. Front drive axle H. That one's 100%. We're going to have to buy one because we couldn't repair the other. Nice new turned vented disc brake. Caliper. And I'll just purchase this drive axle. And if you haven't gotten really good at adding parts to your shopping list, you know, watch the other videos that I had shown how to do that, because you should be getting pretty good at that by now. All right, so I think that's where the front suspension system's at for now, till we do some more diagnostics to see what we have to do. So let's go ahead and just fix the rims and tire setup here. So the tires, they're the same in the front and the rear. And again, pen and paper to write down your tire size. So we need 175, 70, 13s, and they're standard tires. And we need to buy one retro 10, 13-inch rim. And the ones that we don't need, let's just sell. Okay, let's go to our rim store. Buy one retro rim, 13-inch. Then we'll go to our tire store and buy 4 standard tires that are 13. Why did I go to 17? Jeez. 13, 175s, 70? I'm going to check my shopping list. 175, 70. Okay. I couldn't read my own handwriting. That's not good. Defeats the whole purpose of the piece of paper if you can't read your own handwriting. 175, 70, 13s, 4 of them. Buy the tires. Let's go to our tire machine. Go ahead and install these tires up. And what you want to do is get one installed. pull it off the tire machine, install the next one, then go over to your balancer, balance, pull that off, and then the other one will be just about done. Pull it, install the next, go to your balancer, balance it up. You can get pretty quick at installing tires doing it this way. All right. All right. Ooh, balance the last wheel. I almost forgot to balance it. Which if you go to install a new tire and rim on a car and you're like, I just did this, it's not in my inventory where it's at. You didn't balance the wheel. So just go balance it. That'll fix the problem. All right, shiny new wheels and rubbery new tires. All right. All right, the front rims and tires are on. Look at how nice that looks for the customer. All right, let's move that. Let's address some of the engine work we have to do. So we know we have to take care of sparky plugs. Fuel filter's got to go. Take that off. We have to increase the performance of this sucker. Now, if you're wondering where the spark plugs are, follow the spark plug wires. They're right here. Can't get to them yet because we have to take this off first. Cover for the exhaust manifold. Now we can pull the spark plug wires. I'm going to pull this little throttle off too. Let's see why. Alright, that's bad. There we go. Spark plug. Spark plug. Spark plug. Spark plug. So we have to increase performance by, was it 10%, right? 10%, okay? So if we go to our tune-up shop, there's performance parts we can buy here. We can get a fuel filter. Just going to scroll down to the fuel filter. That's a 0.6% performance increase. So I'm going to buy the performance one. I can buy spark plugs, 0.3%. Let's buy 4. So that'll kick us up to about 1% of performance increase just by doing that alone. Go to part mount. And these are parts we had to replace anyway. Nice performance spark plugs for the guy. Okay. Now, I'm going to add this part. The ignition coil. 4.5% on an ignition coil. That'll get us to 4.5 plus the about percent from the fuel filter and the spark plugs. That gets us right about 5% performance boost, right? Okay, slap that on there. And these ignition wires, can we get those as performance? There's another 7%. All right. I'll put this, I'm going to not put that back on yet. All right, so if I look at the part list, we need an air filter, fuel filter we've addressed, brake pads we've addressed, tires we've addressed, serpentine belts we have not, and then we have 3 parts that are undiscovered yet. 1, 2, 3. Belt tensioner and an air filter. Now an air filter, also a performance part. So let's bolt the air filter box here. Pull the air filter. Just went to my inventory, add the air filter to my shopping list. There's an air filter, 1.7% performance increase. There we go. So we're doing pretty good as far as bumping the performance on this car so far, right? I don't know if there's an easy way to test on that, but quick math, we're almost there. is there another part that would be easy to get another big performance boost? The one I would go for, exhaust manifold, because it's just an easy piece to remove. I'm going to add that to the shopping list. 1.5%. Okay, we're not quite there with the exhaust manifold, but we're getting there. Exhaust manifold cover on. Okay. How are we doing on our performance increase? Not quite to 10%. Where else could we get an easy performance boost quickly? The intake. That'd be easy. The other one that's real easy? Exhaust. Exhaust is super easy to pop off, and it's a decent performance boost. Let's pull the muffler. All right, muffler. Go to the performance shop, buy the rear muffler, 1% increase. Part mount. Status. That did it. So now we're at above 10% right now. So I'm not going to do any other performance parts on this sucker. So that's done. We need a belt tensioner, serpentine belt. Okay, so we got to go to the belt setups here. Let's take off the timing on this side. Part. All right. Part unmount. Can't take off the timing cover. Okay. Got to pull the head cover first, probably. Oh, that camshaft is bad. Look at that. Is that on our parts list? No, it wasn't, but I can tell you it's bad. Alright, we can't take the timing cover off yet. What is in the way of the timing cover? The reason I'm pulling this camshaft is just the amount of rust on it. Having done this enough times, I would say this is probably a bad camshaft. So just go ahead and pull it and look at it. We know we have some parts that are unidentified. It doesn't take that long to pull a camshaft. It's at 28%. Let's check our, yep, camshaft, single overhead cam. Timing belt was also bad, so now we only have one part left to discover. We don't have to pull the head and go down and look at the pistons because we know those were fine. Now, the one thing we could check, if we pop this up in the air, we know we have to pull the oil filter because that's bad. Was that the last part that we had to not identify? Yeah, it was just the oil filter. Okay, there we go. So camshaft, let's just go over here and just repair it. Now, here's a tip. The exhaust manifold, we replaced it with a performance part. I can repair this to 100% and keep it in my inventory. Now I have an exhaust manifold for this particular engine, so if I get a customer's job in the future that has an exhaust manifold that needs to be repaired, I have one. Keep the part. Especially if it's a repairable part. I would repair it and keep it in your inventory of parts. That's smart. All right, so as far as parts that we need to purchase, sort by condition. Drive axle we've already addressed, so I'm just going to sell that old one. Belt tensioner we need. Sell it. Brake pads we've already addressed. Fuel filter we've addressed. Serpentine belt we need. Then we'll sell it. Spark plugs we've addressed. Add that to the parts list. And what I'm doing is I'm adding the parts to the list that I want to purchase, and then I'm just selling them. If I've already addressed them, I'm just selling them and not adding to my parts list. Go to the shop, normal car shop, belt tensioner, serpentine belt A, serpentine belt, 4-cylinder oil filter, and a timing belt. Okay, let's go to part mount, put on the oil filter, escape out of here. Let's get the engine or car and engine down out of the air. Go to part mount, put on the repaired camshaft and the camshaft caps. There we go. Get on the cam gear and the belt, timing belt, belt tensioner. Then we can put on the timing cover and crankshaft pulley and serpentine belt, idler A, and the other belt. Put on the engine cover. Go to part unmount, unmount the oil fill cap, and we'll fill her up with oil. I'll fill myself up with Pepsi Max. There we go. And I'll pull the dipstick just to prove that I got oil right where it should be. It's there. Then I'll check our car status. So as far as the main repair, that is done. We've repaired the body panels. We've fixed the oil. Now we just have to spray it factory color and do a wheel alignment with the new wheels. So let's drop this. Go to move the car to the test path. Go to the wheel alignment tool, which is here, and then just slowly align the wheels. All these to line up to green. There we go. So wheels are aligned. Then we'll move it to the paint shop. We already washed it. If your car was dirty, you couldn't paint it, and then they would actually charge you $100 to wash it. But you have a car wash, so. And we did that when we first moved the car into the shop. Current color, the factory color is white. That's what they asked to paint, so that's what we'll paint. There we go. And car status, everything is done. It's a $9,825 order. Finish the order. And this story car is done. And I'm pretty sure we got a case. Of course we did, because it's a story order. And let's see, we'll do number 4 and 5. A barn map and scrap. Add that to our list. These other parts that we had removed from the vehicle that are not repairable, we're going to go ahead and sell. We have a few parts that we have from previous jobs. This was one I didn't need to buy. Same for the starter, but hey, those are extra parts you can use on future orders or customer car orders. That's fine. So we're level 21, $36,000 and 1,100 scrap. The next story order is a 1983 Sakura Takumi Velan. That is a mouthful right there. I think that's a Toyota technically, but that's fine. That's where we'll pick up on our next guide video, which I might record later this evening. So look forward to that. Thank you all for your attention. Lucas, Isaac, Parker, hope you enjoyed this. You guys have a good afternoon.